Good evening. Right. Hope we are well. You know who I am. I'm disappearing in a minute. I will be on and off. I'm just wanted to say something at the very beginning of the show. What I said was going to happen has now happened. As you've seen with Ian's comments in the chat. There was a campaign that was coming out on social media to get rid of the old school City fans. And that has now kicked up into Game of Tone. And I was told 2 weeks ago they were coming after me next. That is what has now happened, as you've seen. So I'm just documenting so I can go to the authorities with it. And they'll get their IP addresses, etc. So you may see some false facts about me coming out very, very soon. Apparently going to expose me. Yeah. Okay, then. This channel was set up by me, Ozzy, Rich, and everything, and Rob as well. I won't discard Rob for enjoyment. This was my escape from my everyday life. This was not what this was about. All I've had to deal with for 24 hours and the last 2 weeks, a load of shit. And I'm not going to do it anymore. So I'm not saying I'm leaving, I'm not saying I'm going. I'm just going to be in and out of the show. I need to sort this out right now. Because I'm going to allow my life, my personal life, to get affected by this with my children and my wife and my job, etc. Not playing that game. So I will put your comments up. I will be in and out of the show. We've got a fantastic panel for you. There is no running away, as people want to say, but there are some knobs in the world who hate older generation fans. Fine, not a problem. You want to be ageist, go ahead and do it. But no one's going to drive me away. You will see me less on other shows now, because that's where it's come from. It's come from other shows. I'm not going to name them. It is what it is. It's not the people who run them. It's not them. It's just some nasty people in the comments who think they can do what they want. But they can do whatever they want now. So I'm just going to go away, deal with it. Ian can put all the falsifications out he wants. Yeah, I'll just do what Tone did. I'll go to the police and let them deal with it. We have some that are called authorities in this world. Yeah, I thank you for everyone who's been amazing with their support and everything else towards us. This is meant to be fun. The last thing it is at the minute is fun. I'm not having my job, my livelihood, and everything else attacked. I'm not doing that game over a club we're all meant to love, because we've had a few bad results. It's getting sick. It's getting very twisted out there. It's become a civil war. I don't know why. So many happy clapper. So what? So what? And they've attacked Rich, and they've attacked Ozzy and everything else, and they're going to expose us all and shut down this channel and shut down everything else. Yeah, we're not playing these games. You are the racist ones. You are the nasty ones, not us. So you will see things about me that will be made up, photoshopped and everything else. And I'm going to clarify all of this. Jack's not about that, but when people are going to attack my livelihood, that can affect my job, my wife, my children, I'm not playing that game anymore. It's no longer coming at me. It's coming at everyone. It's coming at the channel. And we've all worked too damn hard to make a channel that you all enjoy. So, yeah, that's me out for the time being. There won't be a show over the weekend. Probably about Sunday, maybe Monday. I need to sort this out. No one's driving me away. So at least Ian, who say your goodbyes. Yeah, up yours, mate. I have documented, I have screenshotted your comments. I will screenshot what you do on social media as well. And I will go to the authorities with it. So best of luck with that, mate. They'll just get your IP address and we'll prove it's fake. Like we did with Tone. Prove that one was fake as well. So best of luck to you, mate. Yeah, no, you can ban him FIFA, that's fine, but it won't just stop there. But yeah, anyway, I'll be back shortly.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, I think we're all fully supportive of Martin and some of the nonsense, and hopefully we can get back to talking about City now. This week's result, what's going to happen on the weekend, the new signings now that we've now got, I think, 3 or 4, including Echeverry, officially through the door, and what more to come.
I am putting
and get focusing on.
Rich, I am putting his comments on just so we can clarify. People can say, and when the authorities get involved, we've got evidence.
Yeah. So we'll just get on with talking about City, why we're here, what we love, and why there are fans, young and old, all over the world, who support the Blues and enjoy it for what it is. Part of your life that you get away from ordinary life, you get away from work and all the other things that we have to deal with, and enjoy it, because that's what City's about. It's about enjoying the humour, the camaraderie, the good play, trying not to be too sad at, or sometimes laugh at the bad play, and actually enjoy it, because that's what it's all about. So Ozzy, good evening.
Evening, Rich. Yeah, totally agree with what you just said. There's no room for abuse like that directed at anybody. So we as a channel try and give our opinions, give our views, and there are opinions. You can disagree with them much as you want. But, as long as you are not, offensive and downright disgusting, then we can have a debate about what we think and about what you think. I mean, that's fair as far as I'm concerned in my world. So yeah, we're just here to have a bit of fun at the same time. This is, as Martin said, we started this channel because we just wanted to talk about City, the club we love, and and have a bit of chill time away from the rest of the world that it is right now, which is, there's so much going on that's bad, and just, I'm not going to get into it, but this is a bit of escapism, so that's the way we want it. So yeah.
Excellent. And hello. So you're joining us from Brazil?
Yes, absolutely.
Where in Brazil?
Belo Horizonte. It's the same city as Savio went to his footballing academy.
Yeah. I'm just loving the pronunciation. I think everyone in the UK always hear it called Belo Horizonte or something. So it's great hearing it pronounced properly.
Yeah, it's good to have you on, Spartacus.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Can I just say a couple of things on football? Right, football is supposed to be escapism, and for people just to relax. Day-to-day life can be very stressful. Jobs are very stressful. Responsibilities are very stressful. And football is supposed to be the thing that you just relax and watch with your mates and take a beer and stuff. It shouldn't be this life and death, and for people to be attacking others. Why does that happen? I really don't understand.
Yeah. No, it's a funny one, especially not amongst your own fan base. We have United fans and Liverpool fans to be arguing with, and getting into the absolute nonsense with. The one thing about City fans, and and it was always the case with City fans, even going back, and I'll expose myself for being an old bugger here, but going back to when we were watching them in Division 2, home and away, getting beaten by absolutely terrible sides, it was that the fans were always together and always enjoyed it, because, it was never just about winning, trophies. And most of us never thought we'd win a single thing in our lives. It was just about friends who were from, many from, where you came from in Manchester, but many from all over the world who, went to the games and just had a really good crack together. And so many of our songs and so much about the club still, references those days. And they weren't terrible days just because we didn't win stuff. They were magic in every way. And honestly, life, not just football here, but life is highs and lows, and you don't really appreciate the highs if you don't have lows along with it. And the idea that it should be some kind of permanent high is bizarre. You have to have the bad moments to enjoy the good ones. Anyway, hello Dash,
one thing.
welcome. Yeah, sorry.
This is one thing that I usually say a lot. Your highs are only as good as your lows. So you can only appreciate having fun when you've been sad for a little while. You can truly just appreciate those big times when you had bad times.
Well said, mate. Well said.
Absolutely. You only enjoy wins with losses, and I just think maybe it's being old in some ways. It, teaches you a little bit about that, but I just think you've got to enjoy it, and you've got to take it on the chin, and accept that every team, every sport, everything, you're going to have your bad moments, and it's the character you show in your bad moments that will help you get back to the good moments, and that's what we're hoping the rest of the season will bring. Hello Dash.
Yeah,
welcome.
Hi Rich, hi Ozzy, hi Spartacus, hello to the chat.
Mate.
Yeah, and also I would also like to add it's 2025, everyone would have their own opinions, but the main thing is to be respectful to others' opinion as well, and just enjoy football, enjoy some banter. Some comments here and there are fine, but there's no need to be personal or attack anyone for any opinions or anything like that. So people,
Exactly.
yeah.
And City needs to, that we know that, City, with our, history going back 145 years, and we are the club with that history, and that history has those ups and the downs. From being the first Manchester club to win a trophy, to being relegated as champions, to being the last team to win the league with a fully English team, to the depths of 1997, 98, and early 1999 before it got a bit better. I mean, to becoming the best team in world football, which we've done over the last few years. It's an amazing history, and I think it's a history we should be proud of every little bit of it. And I think our fans should learn a bit about every bit of it, because I think we need to love and embrace the history that was of the problems just as much as we love and embrace when we go and win a treble or a four-peat. And I think we need to I think the biggest thing for me is that when we go through a hard time like today, we need to recognize mistakes have been made, and we need to recognize what mistakes have led to some of the problems. We need to realize what bad luck and fate has led to some of those problems, and we need to talk about how we fix it. But we don't have to think that it's a deliberate plot by players we should hate, or managers we should hate, or it's just a collectively some mistakes, and those same decisions that led to the mistakes led to the treble and the four-peat, and we may not have got some of the great highs had we tried to fix the mistakes too early. So it's kind of it is where it is, and I just think we need to accept some things for what they are. I mean, going on to the PSG game, I think that's what's really set things off again. Going 2-up, which I think was a little bit dangerous against a Paris team who are very talented, going forward, and have had, once they were losing to us, had absolutely nothing to lose. And unfortunately, from what, and people may have better information on this, Diaz was ill at half time and got substituted because he wasn't feeling well, and suddenly we find ourselves 2-0 up against a team with nothing to lose, and we've got two defenders on the pitch, and our holding midfielder, I thought looked tired. He's clearly he's not a passer who gets the ball and passes it on. He's a runner, and I think Kovacic start of the second half looked very tired. So, you know, we were suddenly, you know, utterly exposed, and we were exposed out wide. We were exposed through the middle by a very talented team who had absolutely nothing to lose. And, you know, it's not the end of the world. We know if we beat Bruges at home, Bruges are on, you know, in a run of
We're
very
still
good
going
form.
through.
We beat them, we go through. And ironically, and I kind of wonder whether there's going to be some scandal about this with some bitter fans in a couple of weeks. But I think if we win 2-0, Bruges and City both go through. So there's a real, but Bruges could go out if they lose by 3-0 or more. So there's this real thing in the game that Bruges will come not wanting a big defeat, but they don't need to win. They don't need to draw, and they just don't want to lose by 3 or more, because if the Stuttgart PSG game is a draw, they could then drop out if, you know, if everything goes against them. So I was kind of wondering, and again, you're probably all too young for this, but in 1982 in the World Cup, Austria and Germany needed a 0-0 draw to both go through, and they played out a 0-0 draw where neither side had a real serious attempt on goal. So I'm wondering, you know, if we score in the first minute and then play out a training game and win 1-0, that's probably the one problem they hadn't seen with the new format, that there is a danger of games at the end where one result could suit two teams. But anyway, what did you think of the game? You know, just one step too far. Were you really angry about it, or did you just think, against that Paris team with two defenders on the pitch and no holding midfield, it was almost inevitable?
I'm
Ozzy,
fine with it, actually.
Go on, Spikers. Go on.
Yeah.
I'm very much fine with it. Like, I don't understand why people were blaming, for example, Nunes or Josko Vadio. I don't think they had bad games at all. Even I think it's the first goal where Barcola just absolutely destroys Nunes. This is a thing that every fullback we have do. They try and go in to press the winger, and if he's just a split second late, the winger is going to have time to just absolutely embarrass the fullback. This happened with Fernandinho when he played there. This happened with Cancelo when he used to play there. This happened with Walker when he played there. This is just a tactic that we do. We just pressure the right winger or the left winger to play the ball backwards when he gets there. I don't understand why people are blaming him.
No, I think it was. I think it was in some ways inevitable. You know, we really, you know, we were down to Gvardiol and Akanji hasn't been at his best because he hasn't been properly fit, and Gvardiol's pretty attacking. So, you know, I wasn't even trying to work out, you know, who the other defenders were, because, you know, and on top of that, Kovacic looked tired. Kovacic looked like he was quite leggy, and so that, you know, Pep talked about that after the game. You know, that he didn't get the connectivity between Kovacic and Bernardo he really needed. That I don't know, and that extra midfielder that they had, you know, really exposed that midfield again in a slightly different way. Also, you had a lot to say in the first half, particularly about Kovacic, more so than in the second, where I think maybe your heads were just in your hands, not on your phone. But what were your thoughts?
Yeah, Rich, as in our group chat, I did have a bit to say. I was angry, I'm not gonna lie, you know, at the end of the game. If we had done the show, you know, last night, I would have been tearing strips out of myself, because I was just so angry with the way we just capitulated, if I'm honest. I did think Kovacic, I mean, he looked poor from the first minute. He looked like he was done even before half time. And I don't know whether he's carrying some sort of niggle, or he's just so unfit. It's just something in the last month. Kovacic has just looked, even, you know, normally you can say going forward, at least he's got that. We're barely seeing that come from him right now. I mean, okay, yeah, he scored a goal. You know, was it Ipswich or
Ipswich?
Yeah, he scored one against
yeah,
Ipswich.
which was a banger. It was great, but you know, Kovacic is known for this. He goes 10 games and then he scores a worldie. You know, so but he's not a holding midfielder. He looks lost in that position. He can't track back. He loses whoever he's trying to mark. And when he's trying to make a pass to the likes of Haaland or Kevin De Bruyne, he loses the ball 10 times.
And he's not. He's the big thing with Kovacic is a ball carrier. He's not a passer. His natural way is to carry the ball. And if you're playing against a press like Paris were pressing, I thought brilliantly. And the problem is, if you try and run through that press, you're so open to getting tackled or losing the ball. And I think one thing we have with Rodri is a very, very big, strong player who's very, very good at passing the ball. So with Rodri in that press, he'll get the ball and he'll manage to pass through the press. And, if you do that a few times, the team will start to pull the press back a bit. But I think yesterday...
That was...
Yeah.
Sorry, Rich, just say, that is definitely one of the things that... Two weaknesses we've got right now is the press and when we're out of position. And that was shown completely last night, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
Nunez is a ball carrier. He's not someone who passes through the press. And I think then you add to that probably, Diaz can, but he's not our best at that. So you're suddenly looking at defence, which is not, it's not like we are with Stones and Rodri, for example, and things. We can pass through any press because we've got those quality passing footballers, and I think that's what we're lacking against the press now.
Bernardo's also a carrier.
Yeah, and Bernardo was really poor last night. Like again, it was another one of those shocking games from him that we've seen of late. He's just. I
think he's running. Honestly, I think he's been running to the ground.
There's no denying that. I think there are a lot of players in this team that are done. I mean, I think the other thing that didn't help at the back last night was Ederson. His distribution was just god awful. Like I've not seen Ederson that bad in a long time.
But I also think that we didn't help him at all.
No, because if you but at the back,
if you go back to watch
it.
Yeah, but I think the biggest issue was when he had the ball. If you go back and watch it, there was literally nobody in the midfield. There was a gaping hole in the midfield. There was the back line, Kovacic and Bernardo went wide, and there was KDB and Haaland up front. So he had to make the pass pinpoint accurate to one of KDB or Haaland. And when you're being pressed by 2 or 3 players, like how he was being pressed against PSG, you just can't do that. Like it's just extremely hard for any midfielder to do that, let alone a goalkeeper.
Still, I think Ederson was trying to hit the midfielders more than he was trying to hit Haaland or KDB. I think that was the issue. He could have gone even more long to Haaland directly. I think he was trying to find Kovacic or Bernardo instead of finding Haaland. And the main attribute of Ederson is his kicking. Because if it was Ortega, I'm not saying he would have saved 1 or 2 goals, but he might have done much better, especially for the third goal. But I would say third goal, and even for some part for the second goal as well, because once the ball hit the crossbar, Ederson didn't try to get up quickly. He just sat on the floor, saw the ball roll into the goal. So I think if Ortega was there, he could have done better with the goalkeeping side of things. And
Dash, you're right. I think, Ederson seemed like he was trying to pass it to the midfield rather than going a bit extra long and trying to play Haaland in, because we know he can do it. We've seen him do it before. I think the biggest thing that angered most City fans is that third goal, and he just didn't get up. He just stretched his arm out a little bit, and it was just like there was no effort. And
for the third goal as well. And for the third goal as well, like if you see the replay again, like his reaction was so slow because I know the defenders, one of the defenders had to mark Nuno Mendes who was it? John Neves at the back when he was alone for the third goal. I know one of the defenders should have marked him, but Ederson could see him running to the goal and he could have reacted much quicker, but he was so slow in reaction. and he scored on his near post, which I think he could have done much better on that. So I think for third goal, I know defenders should have done better, but he could see the whole pitch. He could see him running at the back post, and Edison should have done better there as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, we can see that Edison, he was given a chance last night, and in all honesty, he's lost his chance of being number one for me at the moment, because Ortega hasn't been fantastic, but at the moment he just seems like he's the better form keeper right now. And I think,
I think neither of them. You know, I don't think Ortega's looks as good as last season. I think he's a bit off it as well. So I think it's
no, I know, Rich, but I think if you have to kind of look at it, one keeper wanted to pretty much leave in the summer. His head looked like it's gone again. And I just think I'd rather have a keeper that wants to be here. Okay, he may not be in the best form, but I'd rather give him the time to get him into form than Edison.
Maybe just time we let Scotty Carson come in and save the day. We've been waiting for it for years. It's time for Big Scott.
We have Rich.
Come in.
Come in.
Just want to say a very quick one. I just want to say a big thank you to Adam, Chris Wood, MCFC Quinn for gifting 5 memberships to the Mancunian Way. I've noticed that Sir Alan Pep Mancini has been in, and he's said that if City don't buy a CDM and right fullback, will kids goodbye to the top 4. I told you this months ago. We've not bought what we need, so we'll come to that in a little while. And then Adam, Chris Wood, MCFC Quinn, to celebrate Chris Wood's new bumper contract, which is going to force City to have to pay a transfer fee, has gifted 20 the Mancunian Way memberships to everyone. So just absolutely fantastic. Just like to say a huge thank you to Adam.
More than you believe. More than you believe, I'm happy.
Welcome. We have a 5th member of the panel. Introduce yourself.
You're on mute, mate.
Yeah. Good evening, panel. Good evening, chat. How are we all? And what have I missed?
Not
just
too,
the
not
usual
too much
meltdown,
so
mate.
far. Yeah, you've missed. I think Martin talking about how we collectively as a fan base need to get a grip. Remember, we're all on the same side and enjoy City for what it is. Win, lose or draw, bottom of Division 2, York away or Istanbul. It's all part of the club. It's all part of the history, and enjoy it for what it is.
Absolutely.
And now we're dissecting PSG, which isn't quite the same.
Fantastic. So just on that, and again, there's a question for the panel, for the chat. Did we get ahead of ourselves soon after that Ipswich win, which again, I was very happy to see, and is a much improved performance. But did it become a thing amongst the fan base where we thought, right, we're back, we're officially back, we're back to where we used to be? Or was it just a case of, in reality, we've just started to turn the corner?
I think for me, it's starting to turn the corner. I mean, for me, even these new players we've signed, I think we're, likely. And one thing that I'm really worried about with the new signing, especially with Khuzanov and Price, is that we can't expect them to hit the ground running. They're raw players who played 50 games. In Khusanov's case, only about 20 in a good league, and in Heiss's case, less than 20. They're coming into the hardest league in the world, into a defence that's in a mess without the fit defenders around them to bring it through. So I think we've got to be very careful. We're not having people on here in a month's time abusing those players, because they come in and they struggle to find their feet straight away. So, Marmoush is probably different. Marmoush we can probably expect to actually, he's an experienced top quality player. He's been playing brilliantly in a top league. So I think we can expect him to come in and make a difference quickly. But with the others, we've got to be patient. I think it'll be 2026 before we're probably seeing any of them, Echeverry, Jumba Bar, Heiss, Kusanov, it's going to be 2026. And I do think, we'll come on to their signings. I do think we still need one or two, a CDM, and I think Alan was right, a CDM and a right back, and I think they've got to be more experienced players. I think they need to be players like Mamouche who can come in and play, because for me, Kusanov, etc., now are going to be a chance maybe to play right back and rest some of our defenders to get them fit. But if we're to go deep in the Champions League, if we're to get top four, we're going to need Diaz and Stones and Ake and Akanji back playing well. I mean, I don't know what everyone else thinks, but I think, we're going to have a few steps back. As we get back to our best, we're going to have a few more defeats, because until we've got our team back together, we've got a gaping hole in midfield and a half-fit defence.
What do you do with defence this weekend, guys?
I think before we go into that, sports, we should probably still dissect a bit of the PSG game. Just from my point, I did think we honestly, some of us jumped the gun a little bit. I think the result was brilliant against Ipswich. There's no denying that. But Ipswich are a team that have just come up. They're a team that are looking like they're going to go back down. Yes, they've got some good players to lap, but they're a team that I don't think they really tested us. And I think some of us, including myself, if I'm honest, with the PSG game, I think we went on the PSG team that we faced last time, the likes we had Mbappe and Neymar and Messi, and especially those front three, because it was said during the commentary that when we played them last, they didn't trap back, they didn't put in tackles, they didn't really drive and make proper efforts. This PSG team that we played last night, they did that. They wanted it more than we did. I think that was kind of obvious. As soon as the first goal went in, you could just see our players' heads drop. And all of a sudden, it was like, oh, God, here we go again. And I think we could all see it was going to happen, that we were going to struggle, because, let's be honest, PSG were the better team on the night. They've got a really good young team, and they haven't been particularly doing well in the Champions League, but they're doing well in the league. But there's still a team that looks hungry, and we've lost that. A lot of our players have come to the end of their time. They're not as hungry as those players last night. The PSG players were.
Ozzy, they were hungry last night, because if they lost, they were out.
Yeah, but
they were at home.
Yeah.
They were at home. They were 40 minutes away from their Champions League being over, and it was almost like the second goal just woke them up, and they realised it's do or die now. We've got to bury ourselves. And for City, it wasn't the same. City went into that game pretty much knowing, even if they lost, they beat Bruges, they go through. And
what I'm trying to do, Rich, what I'm trying to do is, I agree. Yeah, I agree with you, Rich. But what I'm trying to do is say, you have to think about where we are currently. A lot of our big superstars are kind of like where PSG were when we played them last. They're not those sort of players who didn't put the effort in. It's just they've come to the end of their time. And we need to do what PSG have done over the last couple of seasons, where they've brought in young, hungry talent that want to play for PSG, that want to win things. They want to win the Champions League. That's their big goal and ambition. That was kind of ours as a club as well. And now we've got to do the sort of same thing. We've now got to rebuild this squad, and it's not going to happen overnight. Even with these signings that we're bringing in January, doesn't mean all of a sudden we're going to start challenging properly for the title or top four. I think we have to be realistic. Even with Mamouche, we know he's a talented player. We know what he's currently done in the Bundesliga. But that has to translate into the Premier League. And coming into the Premier League is a different animal to the Bundesliga. That's no offense to that league, but it is. Do you know what I mean? And there's no guarantees with anybody coming in that all of a sudden our form is going to change. And even if we do bring in a CDM and a right back, that again, it still doesn't mean we're all of a sudden going to be in a better position. We've got to give the team and the club time, and I think we're going to have to be brutally honest. It's going to probably mean that this season isn't going to be what we'd all like it to be, and we're just going to have to be patient until the summer.
Yeah, we have to be careful with Marmoush as well, because he is coming midway through the season. He won't have had a pre-season. He's literally coming into the situation he is. And okay, fine, he's delivering the goods at Frankfurt, but we've got to give him time to adapt, because it's different country, different league, and like we said, no pre-season, nothing like that.
That's true.
Yeah.
And just on
And
the
also-
PSG game, effort was one thing that our players showed less of effort compared to the PSG players. But I think also we lacked some leadership after Diaz went off the pitch, because like in last few seasons we have had a few vocal players on the pitch. Like if something is going against us, they would just ask the other players to do something specific and like get them sorted on the pitch itself. Like once Diaz went, there were no vocal players. Everyone was so quiet. Like as soon as the first goal went in, as you mentioned, Rich, the heads went down. No one was talking to each other. No one was getting like discussing what to do next. Like they were suddenly lost on the pitch, and I think that's why we are seeing so many collapses in the last few months. And I think with the loss of Rodri, because Rodri is kind of a leader, he's very vocal on the pitch. Diaz is very vocal on the pitch, and our other senior players like KDB and let's say not who else, like even Walker is not there now. So other players are not so vocal. Like once we start losing match or once we go behind in terms of momentum, we can't recover. We need players who show some leadership, show some vocalness on the pitch and get the others back on track during the match. Like I think that is what we are lacking a lot right now.
Yeah, and I think
But
that's spot on between Rodri
think
and
that there
Diaz
is-
run the team so often.
Yeah.
I think that there is another thing that we're not actually considering, that is how we used to kill off games and how we used to gain momentum back into the matches is by passing. We passed the teams to death. We just got the ball when we were losing, when we started
Game
losing
control.
control of the game. We just got the ball and they couldn't take the ball off of us. But now, as everybody just mentioned, our midfield is basically made of carriers. Kovacic is not a passer, he's a carrier. Bernardo is not a passer, he's a carrier. Nunes is not a passer, he's a carrier. Gvardio is a carrier as well. He can pass the ball, but he's mostly a carrier. Everybody in the back, Rico, he carries the ball more than passes as well. So I think we lost the ability to just keep possession with the ball, just pass it around, just have 1,000 passes before the opposition get even a sniff of the ball. But without that, we can't just get momentum back. We can't kill off games. I think this is another massive issue that we're facing right now. I think Jack Grealish, he said it in the interview after the PSG game. He doesn't know what's happening to the team. We just are not able to kill the games off. We used to be so good at doing that, and I think that's the main reason. We just can't just keep possession for like 10, 15 minutes straight without doing nothing with the ball. We just pass the ball around and just start the opposition out. We just don't do that anymore because we don't have the players to do it.
No, you only have to look at the possession last night. I mean, it was one of our lowest ever possessions in any game. I mean, 37% throughout the whole game is it's unheard of for City. You know, I think the lowest we've ever really had is in the low 60s. So you're right, us not keeping the ball and not being able to pass it, having those pinpoint passes between the players, it's just completely wrecking the team. We'd normally be able to pass it through the lines. We can pass it back, sideways and move the ball up progressively, but we're not even able to do that right now.
And I think one thing that struck me, and this is partly that age thing in the legs, is I remember, when we went to Leeds just after, and we won 4-0 just after Bielsa was sacked in the first half, Leeds pressed us like lunatics, and we went, I think, a goal up, but it wasn't easy. They pressed us, but when it got into the second half, our players were still at the same level. They hadn't dropped off at all through tiredness or anything else. And the Leeds press became a bit tired. And as soon as it became a bit tired, our passing just went through them because we were confidently passing that, the ball would be with the player half a second and they've passed it on confidently. And I think we're lacking that confidence as well at the moment, and we're lacking the legs that in the second half we're not going. We used to always look like we went up a gear second half as the other team tired. Now we're tiring before the other team, so it looks like other teams are going up a gear against us, and that's an age thing. It's probably not just age. It's probably also because of our small squad. We've had a lot of players overplayed. Like, we talk about Bernardo. Bernardo's played about 65 games a season a year for something like 6 or 7 seasons. He's played a truly ridiculous amount of football, and given his style, which is to be one of the players who's run the furthest on those games with energy, that's a ridiculous amount. And we've played, De Bruyne, Gundo when he's fit. We played those players whenever they're fit in a small squad so much that they're old, and they're probably their bodies are bad. You saw it. You can't play with that intensity for that long without it having a harm. And we saw it with players like Aguero, where injury came in because they were slightly bulkier players. Injuries come in, but you just can't do it. And I think we've made the mistake of, maybe it wasn't a mistake, maybe it was, but we've gone too long without replacing, and we all know why we did that, because we won a treble and we won a four-peat, and it's very hard for if we'd have done these changes in 22, we wouldn't have won the treble. If we'd have done them in 23, maybe we wouldn't have won the four-peat. And it's very hard in front of fans to go and dismantle a winning team, to cast off a winning team and throw it away. And that's a risk in itself. And we've rolled the dice probably 3 or 4 seasons on the trot. We've got away with it 3 times, or it's worked 3 times. And then the 4th time, we've rolled it and it's been a disaster. And now everything's coming home, and we've got a big thing to fix. And I think we should probably move on, from the Paris to move on to, maybe talk a little bit about the new signings and how we see them fit in. I've seen people calling for Huzanov and Heist to be our centre-back pair against Chelsea, which I think would just be absolute madness. But, how do we think these players will come in? And going back to Alan's super chat, we still need, in my opinion, I agree with Alan. Please don't clip that. But I think we still need a fullback, and we still need a central midfielder. We still need someone there because whether it's long or short term, even a Douglas Luiz yesterday instead of Kovacic would have made some difference. And Ederson would have made some difference. So we've got to, when you've got no legs in centre midfield, the truth is most, even a fit John Stones going in instead of Kovacic would have made a difference. So we do still need that, and I think we do need a right back, or we're going to have to permanently put an Akanji or someone out.
He's my right back.
So what do you think? How will we deal with the new signings, and what else do we need to do in the next 8 days before the window closes?
Who's going first?
Go to your sports talk. We'll go around
anti-clockwise.
Right,
yeah, anti-clockwise.
Right, fair enough. Right, so what are we addressing first? Are we addressing the next game and the lineup, or should we address the transfer?
I think just how you think the signings will come in. So if you think they'll play the next game, by all means, but more focused on the signings we've made so far, how you think they'll be used, how immediately, and then what we still have to do in the next 8 days to save our season.
Right. Given the issue we've had with Diaz in the PSG game, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the new boys starts. I'd probably lean towards Husanov a little more because he's a little older and B, because he's got the experience in European football, albeit it's not Premier League experience, but he's just got a little bit more experience. But we may have to, and I don't think that was the intention. I reckon Pep would have preferred to have bedded them in a little longer, but just because of shortage at the back anyway, I reckon one of them will end up starting. Probably won't see Mamouche just yet in terms of like he might be on the bench. I can't see him starting. That's for sure. So that's on the new signings. And in terms of business for the remainder of this window, I reckon Louise is still looming, but I do see it. Honestly, I'm same as you. Honestly, I wouldn't want him as a first choice. Like, let's say now we got him right at the beginning of the window, I'd be like, oh, come on. But as a contingency, let's say you get to your last 2 days and you can't get anyone else, you could do much worse as a contingency than getting Louise. I would say that. But again, I wouldn't be jumping up and down about it, nor would I be like, oh, God, what's he doing here? I'm quite keen on Cambiasso, though. I'm feeling keen on this one because for now, he does cover a lot of bases, like especially in the fullback area, but also because of the fact he could do a job in the middle. It's almost as if we're going to bring him in to do the number 6 role for now until we get the preferred option in the summer, and then we're just moving back to playing as a fullback. So hopefully City don't penny pinch too much. Although I understand we have to sort of because of PSR and all that, we've got to be mindful. We can't just pay over the odds for players. But if this is somebody that Pep sees as right, you know what, he's the right sort of player, I really want him, I'm keen on him, he ticks all the boxes, then let's not penny pinch too much. Let's just pay the 55, 60 million pounds that they want and let's get this done because we're running out of time.
Damash?
Yeah, for me, like great to see 2 new centre backs for the future because I think a couple of our players, especially John Stones and Nathan Ake, are coming to probably the end of their City career. Especially, in my opinion, especially John Stones. Like, I think this should be his last season at City because if he can't stay fit, we can't afford to keep him in terms of our main centre backs for the team. Like
he's going to be like Vinny. He's going to come back like Vinny and have another swan song. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, might be, but I would rather prefer to keep players who would be regularly available for the team because whatever we say about Nathan Ake, he has contributed a lot this season as well, even though he has been injured as well, but he contributes much more than John Stones on a regular basis in maybe last 2-3 seasons regularly. So I would say we desperately needed a couple of new centre backs for the future, and we have got 2 good ones. Like I haven't seen them play, but I trust the board. Like if they think that these players would be good for us in the future, then I totally am with them. And also I think one of those will play, but I actually want one of those 2 players to start in the next game because they can't play in the Champions League anyways next game against Club Brugge. So I would rather rest one of 2 of our players and play them in the Chelsea game because worst case scenario, if we lose against Chelsea, I don't care, but we don't have, like, we need to win against Club Brugge. Like that is the main priority for me at this point of time. So I would rather rest one of the players who can play in the Champions League and play whosoever Pep thinks is ready more to play now, either Kusanov or his. I don't really care. Any of those 2 can play. I won't like both of them to play. I just want one of them to play in this match. So any of them who's more fitter, who's more ready, he can start. And in terms,
I hope at fullback. My view is I would hate if we have to throw one of them in at centre back.
To be honest, I would rather prefer them into centre back because for them it would be their main position, and I would rather have Akanji play as right back because Akanji has played right back in the past, so I am more comfortable of him playing in the right back. And let's say Kusanov plays. So for Kusanov, it's his main position centre back, and I suppose he has played a lot of games this season.
Well, he plays right of a back 3. And if we're assuming Guardiola pushes up, then our right back is going to be right of the back three. Our centre backs are going to be left, centre, and centre. So I think in a way, and he also has a lot of pace. So in many ways, I think Kusanov, because of the way we play in Guardiola's role, if Guardiola's playing, it makes sense to have Kusanov coming right back and slide into right centre back. If Ake's playing left back, then you probably want it slightly differently, because if Ake's playing left back, you want a right back who's going to go into midfield, and that's where my big worry all season, and one of my biggest problems this season has been playing Lewis and Guardiola together, because they both invert and go up to play at number 10, and then we're left with two. And I think City's strength through 23 and much of 24 was either having 4 rock solid defenders. So at most you had someone like Walker pushing up, but you had 4 rock solid defenders. And if we had an attacking left back playing, when Cancelo played, we always had a real defensive right back, like Walker. And so we always had that solid defensive 3. And when we have teams like last night, or when we play Lewis and Guardiola together, they both go up, and rather than a defensive 3, we're just left with 2 centre backs doing the job of 3. And that's where we're always exposed on the flanks, because we have no width. So I do think Kusanov to right back would make a lot more sense to me than centre back.
Yeah, just a little bit on Rico. I really like Rico as a player, but I think right now he shouldn't start, because whenever he starts, he gets bullied on the pitch. The opponents just get onto him very quickly, and he loses possession a lot right now. So right now, I wouldn't want Rico to start the game as well. He's a good player for the future. He can be a very good squad player. So I don't want him to like leave the team, but I would rather not start him as well right now, because he is one of those players who can start. But I would rather Rico not start against Chelsea.
Yeah, and I think that if you're starting Guardiola, you don't start Rico. To me, if we had, Akanji, Diaz, and Ake, then I'd start Lewis. I'd be happy to start Lewis, because Lewis could invert up, and then you'd have that back 3 of Akanji, Diaz, Ake, solid. If Guardiola starts, he isn't in a solid back 3. He's too attacking. We then have to have a really solid right back, and that's where I think the problems have been, because Lewis is not the player to play fullback when Guardiola's playing. Walker's been terrible, and we haven't been able to keep more than 2 of the other centre backs fit. So we're permanently trying to chuck in, people having a go at Nunes for not being a good fullback. The truth is, Nunes is a ball carrying attacking midfielder, and to be playing fullback is not ever going to be in his repertoire. And so, I don't
pulled that trick off twice, which it may have worked twice, but for a third
time,
I think we're pushing it.
Even I think we get a bit carried away, because it worked for Fabian Delph magnificently in one season, but Fabian Delph wasn't Nunes. Fabian Delph was a defensive-minded tackling midfielder. So, if you move someone like that to fullback, they're obviously going to be better at it than a ball-carrying attacking player who probably wants to be playing number 8 running into the box. And then suddenly you're saying, and Lewis is a bit like that. Lewis is naturally a far more of a knitting together number 8 type player than he ever is a fullback. His natural game is getting the ball and passing and moving and getting in space. It's not marking back, tackling, and getting his head on it.
So Sparkus. Sorry, Dash.
Just one point about Mamouche as well, and I love the signing. Like, we needed one experienced player as well coming in, and he is an experienced player. He's in great form, so I would also like him to just, for my team against Chelsea, I'm starting Mamouche as a 10 or as a left winger, anywhere Pep prefers, but I would start him as well, and especially after his introduction interview, which I saw today, because he was also very confident. He was very eager to start as well, because in the interview he said 3 times, "I can't wait to get on the pitch, which shows that he's ready to start and he is already in great form. So rather than gelling him slowly in the team, I would rather just put him in the team and continue his form with City. And maybe he's the catalyst in our midfield or attack that suddenly the team is more confident because there's a new player. He's in great form. He wants to link up with Haaland. So I would rather start Mamouche in this game as well because he can't play against Bruges as well. So rather, let's say rest KDB and play Mamouche, or rest Foden and play Mamouche. Like rest one of those players for the Bruges game and just push Mamouche in the game and let's see what he can do for us. But I think he's a great signing for us.
Yeah.
I agree
Marcus?
with Darsh on that, on the Marmouche thing. I think he should be starting for KDB against Chelsea because KDB was knackered against PSG. You could see it. He was absolutely tired against them, especially in the second half. So if we can just give KDB a little bit of a rest against Chelsea, start Marmouche and then give KDB the Bruges game, that's just, let's be honest, it's probably a season-defining game as well against Bruges. That would be very, very good. And the Vito Hayes and Kusanov thing, I don't think they even speak a language in common. Like they can't really talk to each other, so they can't really be a partnership. So let's calm down with that thing. So yeah, about those two, that's as much as I can say. And
Just
Yeah, that,
just on that language thing, just on that language thing. One thing which I was also thinking about in terms of language is that if Diaz or some other Portuguese players or are playing, Vito Hayes can be the player who can start because they can direct him to play in certain positions, on the pitch in certain point of time, because he speaks Portuguese and there are a lot of Portuguese speaking player in our team. So I think he can play in the team with other players if we want some fresh players in the team with energy, and they must be eager to play in the team as well. So I think that is a bit of a positive thing about Vito Hayes compared to Kusanov, but Kusanov is more experienced. So I think Pep Pep will decide accordingly what he thinks would be best.
And about Cambiaso, I think he will be fantastic in time for City. I think the way that he moves around the pitch, the way that he inverts, how he inverts, when he inverts, what he does in the midfield, it's brilliant. Like I've watched only 4 or 5 games of him, but every time I watched him, I was like, yeah, this kid, he understands how to do this inverting thing down to a T, and you can generally see that he's very good at finding those back passes into the center back. When the center back passes the ball into him, and then he passes it back to the center back first time, he does that a lot, and I think Pep is gonna love that. Uh, and yeah, I think he's gonna be very good for Pep in time. I think he might not gel at first because he might need a little bit of time to understand small little tweaks in his game and his positioning and stuff and timing of runs and stuff. But I think in time he would be fantastic for us. And about the CDM, everybody's been talking. This has been bugging me for a little while. Everybody has been talking. We just need to get ACDM, and a CDM. If we get, let's say for example, would you get Calvin Phillips back if you could? Do you think we would be any better with him? I don't think so. It's not just a CDM. We have to get a great CDM that is great at passing, great at reading the play, and has physicality to fix this season. And then I'm not even getting with what we do with him next season once Rodriguez back. Is a CDM on that mode available? No, he's not going to be available because the team that he's playing for him will not want to sell him because he's probably going to be the heart of the team. So with this thing that's saying, just get a Douglas Luiz or just get a Baleba or somebody like that, it's just not possible right now. We just can't get a player. It's just not getting a player. Getting a player got us to the situation we are in right now. We got Nunes, he's a player. We got Calvin Phillips, he's a player, and none of them worked. So we can't make the same mistake 3 times. We gotta take our time and really think about it. Do we actually need a CDM? in the future, or do we need a player that can play CDM but it's mainly an 8? I think that's the more important thing. Do we need a Kundogan from the treble winning season, a player that's fantastic at getting into the box, very good at distributing play, getting the ball, passing it around, and can fill in that CDM spot? Or do we need a player that's going to be a physical monster in the CDM spot? I think we need the Kundogan from the treble season, not the CDM that people are talking. I think if we get the CDM, the same problems are still going to be happening, because we're not going to be able to keep possession because we're going to have too many carriers of the ball. We're not going to be able to pass it around the teams just to gain momentum of the game back. We're going to keep losing momentum. We're going to be giving away leads. I think everything is just going to keep happening.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sparkus. I've been saying the same thing for a while, that I think bringing in like someone like Doug Luiz is a mistake, because he is just repeating a set of behaviour that we've been doing with the likes of Calvin Phillips, and it's just, you can't keep doing it. For me, you know, we have to accept that maybe bringing in a midfielder is going to be the trickiest of all the signings. City might be able to do it still, but it's looking less and less likely. I think, as you said, Spikers, I think we need to be long-term looking at a player that can play as an 8, but can play as a 6 when we need them to. Because, you know, Rodri is, as we know, the best player in the world right now as CDM, and, you know, it's difficult to replace him. We've tried, we've failed, and I don't think we can just bring in a player, just a whole number 6, because then what do we do with that 6 when Rodri's back? So it's a difficult one. I think with the new players that we've signed, I think Victor Royce, I've just butchered that probably. Hayes, sorry. I think it's unlikely he'll start. I think he's probably a player that might go off the bench. I think with Kuzov, I think I agree with Rich as well. That, you know, I think he's a player that, you know, we could see on the right as a bit of a Kyle Walker replacement for now, because Nunes just, again, no offence to him, but he's just not up to scratch. And that's not entirely his fault. He's being asked to play in a position where he's just not comfortable. You can see that. And again, he's not a City player. I think we have to accept that. Anyway, anyone's bus that's here.
I was about to say, someone called TREBLE. There's someone at a bus stop. What's going on here? Right, quick one.
Hang on, Rich. Mine, just let me finish, because we were all making points.
Yeah.
And then we'll. I think, in all honesty, I think someone like Cambiasso, I agree with you, but I think he's a fantastic player. I think he's a perfect pet player. He was brought in Juventus, and they were after him for quite a while. They thought he was an exceptional talent. They were so pleased when they got him, and for them to lose him would be a big loss, and a big game for City. He is so versatile. You know, he can play it right, but he can play in the centre. He can play, you know, as a right winger. You know, he's the perfect player. And I think if we at least brought him in this January, I could kind of say, okay, well, let's leave the midfielder to the summer, where we can get who we want. Because for me, as much as, you know, what's his face from Juventus, who we were just talking about, Douglas Luiz, I think it's a stopgap measure, and I don't think he's not a bad player, but he's, you know, if anyone's seen him play for Juventus, well, he's played for Juventus, he's just not up to scratch. And I think if Juventus desperately try and get rid of him, that's not a player we should be screaming out for, even as a last-ditch hope on deadline day. I think that is just, it sends out the wrong message as a club that, you know, needs to be making that priority signing. If we can't do it in January, we do it in the summer, and we have to make do, sadly. I would rather bring the right player in than get another player that's wrong, and then we're stuck with another Calvin Phillips and Nunes.
Yeah, but that depends whether he's a signing or a loan. I mean, for me, Luiz is a good passer. He knows the Premier League. He's good at collecting the ball and passing it. I think where Luiz is a bit weak is probably, you know, off the ball. I don't think at the press, and is defensive off the ball position, he's fantastic. But he would actually help us move the ball out of defence a lot more, and he can tackle. So I think he'd be an improvement on what we have. And that's the question today is, you know, we don't want to waste 50 million on him if we've got to keep him, but if we could get him on loan. But I do think
want rid of him permanently.
Everything about
They don't
Luis
want-
for me is we'll take him if we can't get anyone else on the 31st. And, you know, I think that's what's that's what's at play. We've got other things we're after.
So I'm just doing my pre-match stretch. Right. Anyway, good evening, everyone. Sorry about that. All sorted. Adam has gifted another 10. He's gifted 35 subs tonight. So if you have got one off Adam, please say a massive thank you. True Dogs with a very, very great super chat. I love this. The goal this season is to keep the team mentality together through the tough time. Players and fans can't turn on each other. Better days are coming. Spot on. Love it. Well done, mate. And then Benny has gifted $1.99 as well. Thank you so much. As well as Alan's $7.99 earlier, which Rich did sort of expand a little bit on his mental.
And we've turned into a topic.
Yeah.
Did it? They don't buy CDM and a right fullback. Kids goodbye. Kiss goodbye to the top four. Told you months ago we've not bought what we need. Right. I mean, I'm going to say this. Listen, on the CDM stuff, I know everyone went back into meltdown when the Stones and the Kanji stuff come out. City are going to try as well. The problem is they don't want Douglas Luiz on a permanent. They don't want an obligation to buy. They literally want a straight loan. Juventus will not do a straight loan right now. This is, I know people hate me for this and they think I'm being a dick. I'm not. I'm being honest. I wish I could come on here. Listen, we need a CDM. 1000% agree we need a CDM. But we can't just go. The guy they want, they cannot get. It's not City. It's the other team. They won't sell him. They will not sell him. He's either got to kick a major fuss right up and demand a transfer out the door, or City pay 30, 40 million over the odds, which they're not really going to properly do. They may have been told you can have him in the summer for that price, but as of January, he goes nowhere. Tough. Deal with it. Like I said months ago, it's like someone coming for Phil Foden or KDB or Erling Haaland right now and going, we want them. Just because you want them, don't mean you're getting them. The player they properly want is Edison, as Jack Gardner said today. They want Edison. Atalanta will not sell the guy. Douglas Luiz was your backup. Juventus only want to sell him. What they don't want to do is get a Douglas Luiz and be stuck with Calvin Phillips and Mateus Nunes version 3 all over again. Because what will happen
a big mistake.
You'll all go, well, we've got Douglas Luiz. How do we get him into the team? He's great. You can't just buy a 6-month stopgap. I know people are saying Stiller. City don't want Stiller. They want the guy they want, but we can't just throw 15 CDM names out there and go, well, let's do that then. I know it's hard. I know it's upsetting. I agree. I want a CDM. 1000%. People think I don't. Of course I do. And
man, it's not
may not be good enough to some, but to Pep Guardiola and the board, he's good enough. This is what fans need to realise. We don't choose the targets. We don't choose the players, everyone.
But it's also, Martin, that we're dealing with January. We're not dealing with being in the summer right now. Those type of deals are not. I mean, we've done 3 deals. I mean, a lot of clubs do 1, maybe 2 at most.
4 deals.
So, 4 deals.
We have spent more than the Premier League
combined. Yeah, I mean, we've managed to do some great deals in January, and we may still do 1 more, but we have to be realistic. As you said, Martin, we're not dealing with the summer. We're not dealing with the end of the season where clubs are going to be a bit more negotiable, that you can try and get that player when they're in the middle of a season, when they're hunting down, a trophy, a title, for the first, it might be the first time in a long time since Atlanta won the, Series A. They're just not going to give up that player. And you can't blame them, because we wouldn't do it if we were in their position. We'd be like, no, come back in the summer, jog on. So again, I would rather wait until we get the right target. If it means that we have to play, and like I said, a Cambiasso right now, I think would be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would help right now, because we've
But
got
again, Juventus are saying no right now to us. They're saying no, not happening.
Yeah.
So do we go and get any right back, and then go and get Cambiasso in the summer, and then you're stuck with a right back you don't really want?
Yeah.
We can't stockpile players and players and players and players. We can't stockpile them. I know people want to do
my view is, Martin, my view is that either the Cambiasso position to be able to invert, or the CDM, we've got to be prepared to waste 20 million and buy the right player now and pay that extra 20 or 30, because if we leave let's be absolutely clear. If we paid, if we went to Newcastle and we offered 130 million,
Newcastle have said no. They will not do it, Rich.
Of course they said no, but if we have put 130 million pounds down, they'd take it. That's
I don't think they would.
If we offered £30 million on Bruno, this fan base would melt down.
Too much.
I'm not talking about the fan down, but we cannot risk 200 million pounds, which is what we'd lose if we don't get in the Champions League. We cannot risk that on not having a right back who can invert, or a CDM. We maybe get away with not buying one of those, but if we don't buy either, we're throwing away 200 million, and we won't then get those players that we want in the summer, because A, we won't have the money, because we're going to be on a fire sale to fill a hole of 200 million, and B, why is a player going to drop down from a Champions League team to play for City when we haven't qualified in the top 5? And
same way Paul Pogba dropped down from Juventus to Man United.
So
money talks.
I don't think that is the problem.
Have the money. We won't. I don't think we'll.
Of course we will. We've not spent any money for 4 years, Rich. We've got a check.
We haven't. But yes, but that's based on us getting that Champions League money for 200 million and getting the sponsorship from that Champions League money, etc. We can't just drop our revenue from, the 800 down to 600 and not have consequences. We do have consequences. So I think whilst we need to be sensible, we cannot go from the end of this window and not address at least one of those issues.
No, I agree. I would rather
and we'll have to spend that money.
I'd rather go and get a Cambiasso who can actually, for me, do both roles at a push.
Kimmich would be the same. Yeah. If we signed a player who could do both, then we can get away with signing one, not two, till June. But we can't leave both.
Rich, we've done this before. We got Nunes. Let's go all the way back 3 years ago. We got Calvin Phillips. And everyone was over the moon, and they were like, yeah, this next English talent. And he couldn't handle it. It was nearly 50 million, that deal. Gone. 170 grand a week. You can't flog him anywhere. You're literally having to loan him to West Ham, loan him out to Ipswich, and pay wages. You then come to Kovacic. Kovacic at the minute is too inconsistent. He has a good game, a bad game, a good game, a bad game, and you don't know which one he's going to pull. You've got Mateus Nunes, who nobody wants. So you've spent the best part of what? 120 mil on 3 players, on 450 grand a week across the 3 of them, and we can't flog them for anything. And now we want to add another stopgap in a midfield where we go, well, that's another 150 grand a week or whatever. And we don't know where, because Juventus won't pay his wages. We'll have to do that. Because Rangers, because someone said Rangers in the chat, Juventus will not sell without any kind of obligation. So that's another 40 million back on. So you've now spent the best part of 160, 170 mil on 4 players you don't really want. You could have saved the 140 and just got into Bruno in the frigging summertime. Maybe the board have learnt from the mistakes and they're going, you know what? We ain't going to do this again. We've been burned 3 times in a row. And I know people are saying, but I just think if you can get Cambiasso, you have got enough to make top 4.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
I think Rich, you can probably pay.
My point, Martin, is that we should pay the extra 20 million for Cam. If we think he's 60 and they want 80, we should pay that 20.
No, at the moment they're saying no price. That 68 million is for summer. Right now they're saying there is no price.
But always, everyone always says there's no price for a player.
There's always a price.
So would you pay 80 million? Would you pay 80 million for Cambiasso?
Yes, Martin. Because as Rich said, and I agree that if we don't qualify for Champions League, we would lose much more than we would have to pay extra. So I would and if City is sure that Cambiasso is the right player, definitely go 10, 15, 20. Like, if first bid is going to be 65 million, if City has already bid or will be bidding soon, if they rejected as soon as they get the bid, they rejected, put the next bid in the next day with 10 extra million, 15 extra million, and get it done this month. Because let's say we don't qualify for the Champions League, easily we'll be losing 100 million.
Is our squad that bad? I'm going to genuinely ask this, Dimash. Are we saying this squad has gone from winning 4 titles on the bounce to, without a CDM, we cannot make top 4 or top 5?
It's not about we can. It's not that we can't make.
It's
but
without a right back,
one at a time, guys. One at a time,
and fit centre backs. It's everything together. It's not just if we kept Diaz, Stones, Akanji, and Ake fit all season, then we'd be 10 points better than we are, regardless of Rodri. We may not be top, but we'd be second or third. We'd be much better. But I do think that what we cannot have is the entire defensive spine ripped out of the team, which is what's happened. It's not just Rodri. We haven't been able to play We've barely been able to play 2 centre backs the same in consecutive games, let alone a back 4. We've got no right back. We've got centre backs where we've basically had no centre backs because they're playing half fit, and no centre midfield. So we've got this massive chasm in the middle of the team. Now the squad's there in defence. There's no question we've got 4 top quality centre backs if they're fit. So they come back, that improves things. But we still have got no CDM, and that's like having no quarterback in an NFL team, and that's the problem. It's so key to the team that it has. We could have lost Haaland, and honestly, Haaland might be our best player, but we could have lost Haaland, and it would have had nowhere near the effect of losing Rodri. We could lose any other player, it would have nowhere near, because he was the quarterback for the team. He was the organizer, he was the captain. He knitted defense, well, not captain, but on-field play-wise. He knitted defense.
And I'm only asking, by the way, I'm just asking questions for anyone who says
and if an NFL team doesn't have a quarterback, they have to sign one. They can't just put a wide receiver in and try and chuck the ball and get it out there. So I do think we have to address that.
No, I mean, if it's that bad,
I feel like
then we basically fluked the league for 3 years.
Just Martin. I also think that I don't think you were in the show when I said that, but I also think that now in the team we have too many carriers of the ball and too little passes. Like if you really stop to think about it, Mateus Nunes is a carrier, Bernardo Silva is a carrier, Kovacic is a carrier, Savio is a carrier.
Yeah.
Foden is a little bit of both, but he likes to drive with the ball a little bit more as well. So we don't have the players to just, when we start losing control of the match, just pass the team to death, the opposition to death. We don't have the team, when we go 2-0 up, we just pass the opposition to death and just see the game out. When we want to rest a little bit the team needs a little bit of rest because they start getting a little bit too tired in the middle of the game. We just pass the ball and the opposition gets tired and we start resting our players. We don't have the players to do that anymore because everybody just wants to drive with the ball to get to the ball from point A to point B with the ball without passing it. So I think this is a major issue with us right now. I think Cambiasso would help us a lot in that because he's a pass-first player as well. He wants to pass the ball. He wants to keep the ball moving instead of him moving. I think he would help us a lot with that.
No, hang on. Lakshmi, I'm trying. It was an example, mate. This is where you got to realise examples. Don't, mate. I'm just giving examples. Please don't think I'm giving you facts. I'm not. I'm asking questions, mate. This is partly too many people think what we're saying is factual. We're only giving opinions on these shows.
And
Go on,
just
Sports.
on, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to answer Martin's question from earlier. So when he's asking how, if our squad's really that bad, and I think between yourselves, you've sort of all answered it. But for me, the key issues that all stand out. I said there's about 3 or 4 key issues. I think we've mentioned them one by one. But number 1, injuries. Definitely injuries in certain areas. 2, the fact that we've got an aging squad, without question, especially in some areas, especially with certain players, we've got aging players. We've got an over-exhausted squad. And for me, probably, and I'm glad that we're in the situation we're in because it exposes some of this. But we've got too many players that we just can't rely on in these sort of situations. And I'm not going to name drop because then all of a sudden everyone starts targeting those players. But there's a handful of them that you just cannot rely on, and especially when when we get to the nitty gritty and we've got the situation we've got, we just can't count on them to step up. So. And this is where the whole Louise thing comes in. That do we need any more of those sort of players where you can't count on them when the going gets tough?
Yeah, totally agree with you, Sports. I think you're right. We've kind of touched on a few things tonight where about this team, and you're right. Injuries have been a massive issue. Ding ding. So injuries have been probably one of the biggest things that hit us. The inconsistency from players. We've not been able to rely on the big names, the Kevin De Bruyne's, Bernardo Silva's, even Edison, Haaland to a point. But we look at the team and we think consistency from a lot of players. We forget that, Savio, it's his first season for one thing. He's tried to do his best. There were times where he couldn't hit a barn door, or he could, but it was just off. And we were all feeling for him because he just needs that goal. He just needs it. And when he gets it, that's going to be the weight off his shoulders. Doku, again, a great player, but he's been so inconsistent, and he's been injured quite a bit this season.
He's injured again.
Yeah, exactly. So it's. We haven't got a squad, Martin, that we can rely on properly. There isn't a player really that has shown any sort of consistent form.
Yeah. Am I wrong? Would I be wrong for saying this is a sort of season that would have been perfect for the stage was set for someone like Jack Grealish or even a Nunes for that matter, where you think, right, we've got high profile injuries, we've got a depleted squad. Here's your moment. Go out. Prove that you're worth, your weight in gold. Go and prove that you can be the person, that player that we can count on. And they've both failed to just take the opportunity because this could have transformed and changed the direction of where the career at City was heading. And
you're sometimes right, Sports, but also Nunes did have his chance. And to be fair to him, he had a run of games and he was doing quite well. We were all praising him, going he's doing well. But then all of a sudden,
United
came out of team for a game, and then when he came back in, it was like
even I've given up on Nunes, and I've been sat on the
I think that moment for Nunes was that United back pass when the United game turned around and we lost, because I agree.
I think it mentally shot him in the head. I think he had an absolute brain fart after having quite a good game.
Yeah.
He just had a
both
brain
him
fart
and Pep as well, because Pep started to trust him a little bit because he gave him 3-4 games in a row and he was playing not great, but he was playing well throughout all these 4 games. But as soon as he did that back pass, suddenly Pep's trust was gone. Nunes' confidence was gone, and he suddenly had that drop again because he was starting to show that he can take his chance, but then suddenly
with all due respect, what's Cavadiol and that still doing in the team then on these back passes? They've all messed up on the back passes this season. And by the way, I love Gvardiol. I don't think he's as bad as people claim he is. I think he's just
No.
I think he's in a
people
bad,
claim that he's bad.
Squad. Yeah.
No, but
So,
Do you know what
you can attribute a reason.
Yeah, the thing with Nunes is he's not a bad player. We just have to be honest.
No, he's a soldier. He's a soldier, Ozzy. That's what he always was. Do you know what Nunes and Kovacic were meant to be for me?
And even Gundogan.
You were meant to have your starting 11. Yeah. So your KDBs, your Rodriguez, your Irelands, and you're all, here we go, glitz in the glamour. But it's like anything in life. You can't have a superstar squad of 25. What you need is some generals, lieutenants, captains, and then you have your soldiers. And the idea was, you know, when we've said when Rodri needs a rest. So you're meant to do like, because this is the other thing people haven't realised. You know, when Rodri says he needs a rest, he's talking the last 25 minutes of a game. He's not talking rest me for, drop me for 3 games. I was talking to a former footballer, Tete, and he won't name him, mate, a former footballer, Tete, professional footballer, Sierra Leone. And even he came on a space and he said, this is what players mean when they say a rest. They mean take me out for 20 minutes at the end when we're 3-0 up. Doesn't mean drop me for 2 games. And I think as fans, we get lost in that. We think a rest means don't play.
It might be a shock to some people, but footballers want to play football.
Yeah. The thing is, though, is that I think the Nunes signing was a mistake. As much as, yes, you're right, he was brought in as a bit of a soldier. At the same time, though, he's not a good enough soldier for this team. You know, he's just not at the level that you can rely on, even to come off the bench and do a job. Because if he was Martin, he would have been given more of a chance, and he hasn't been because Pep doesn't trust him. And to me, that says realistically that he was a bit of a panic buy that summer.
Can I just say, I think there's mistrust in a lot of players at the minute, Ozza. I think that's where I will criticise Pep. I don't think, when I think back at it and I look back at it, I think maybe he should have given some of these youngsters a go. My only thing is, I would say some youngsters. I know there's talk in the chat about O'Reilly. My issue with O'Reilly is he was excellent against Salford, but against Ipswich for the last 30 minutes when he come on, he looked like rabbit in headlights. And that's at 6-0 against, as some fans have said, it's only Ipswich. Yeah. Now, if O'Reilly's coming in at 6-0, when there's no pressure, everything's hunky-dory, and the opposition aren't really giving you their all, and you're coming in and putting misplaced passes in, if you're Pep Guardiola, you're not going, playing him against PSG next week. You're not going to do it.
Also think that Rico was really trying to impress in that game. He failed to do it, but I think he had
he was trying to impress.
Yeah. That might be the last 30 minutes he gets in a City shirt for the season.
And by the way, we brought plays on yesterday. I get the yesterday thing. Sorry, I missed loads. So if I am repeating stuff, please let me know and tell me to shut up. But it's like, you know, the subs yesterday. Look at our bench again. Our bench was atrocious again.
Yeah.
People are going, why is Rico come on? Because there was nobody else to come on. Did you want Max Elaine to come on?
Same with Gundo.
No.
Gundo wasn't good.
No. There's no other choice. He brought Grealish on. Grealish actually happened to be our best player in the end. But the problem is, you didn't have Vita Hayes. You didn't have Ushinov. You had no Mamouche. That bench will look very different again Saturday. Because he's got options to bring off. You can't bring John Stones on.
Just on that thing, like as we were discussing earlier, like I told you guys that I would start Mamouche and one of those centre backs against Chelsea. Like, what does everyone else think? Like, are you starting one of those centre backs and Mamouche against Chelsea?
I'm starting all 3 against Chelsea, and I'll tell you for why. All 3 start. Tell you why.
They can't play against Bruges.
Brian drops to the bench. You're saving for Bruges.
Yeah.
Mamouche goes into 10. I give Stones and a Kanja their day. See you later, mate. Just enjoy it. Bye-bye.
No Stones. No Stones.
See ya. Go and rest up for Bruges, mate. I'm starting all 3. Victor Hayes or Ushinov, whichever you want at right back, one at centre back. you know, you get Gavardio and whoever, you will have to start one of them because obviously down to injuries. I'm putting Mamouche in the middle, and I am doing it that way. Otherwise, because this is Bruges is now so damn important. And the reason, and I've heard this today, by the way, I don't want to qualify because we're not going to get through. I have seen so many teams struggle in the group stage and go on and win it because the hit form come March time. Because remember, it's a cup competition. You don't need to be the Champions League is not the best team wins it. It's the team that's in form that wins it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Real Madrid will knock themselves out now.
Remember, Liverpool and Chelsea both won it outside the top four.
Yeah.
They couldn't make the top four in the Premier League, and they both won the Champions League. And part of that was they actually almost got to the point of resting players in the Prem to have them at the peak for the Premier League.
3 years ago,
Chelsea did it twice.
Yeah, Chelsea won it, and they were garbage. They had Roberto bleeding Di Matteo, bloody.
And even when they had Tuchel.
3 years ago, when we crumbled against Real Madrid played bad in all the games. Against Chelsea, they played bad. They somehow won the tie. Then against
even when
us,
they knocked us on penalties, that they still played poor. They weren't the best team on the pitch.
No,
like
that
night. No one should think that we should get out of Champions League. We should win the match against Club Brugge. We have to win the match against Club Brugge. Like that is essentially our season left, because you don't know in FA Cup what team we get in next round, if we qualify or not. But Champions League is the main tournament we are left in right now. So I don't want to go out of Champions League so early.
I just need to answer a couple of these. Sorry, and then I know Richie needs to go in a minute. Echo Falls. If you book parking at the Etihad, you can choose which one you want. You can choose which one you want. They're both as bad as each other to get out. Echo Falls. You can choose orange or choose blue. £6 if you're a multi-car one. It might be 12. Because I'm disabled, I get a bit cheaper. But I'd go for more orange. But it's the orange is the one that fills up the quicker one. Blue one will probably be the one that is generally available. So I hope that helps you. A couple of super chats that have jumped in. Ed, thank you for your $1.99, mate. 2 months, 2 points off 8. No Europe at all. Will it be worth it? 2 points off Champions League as well. So both sides of the coin on that, Ed. Mark has gifted 10 memberships. Forget, you are a legend, my sir. Thank you so much for your continued generosity. You are a legend. And DB then comes in with another 10 as well. Please say thank you to these legends that are in the chat, gifting you their hard-earned money, or in Rich's case, his pension. Adam has now gifted over 30 tonight. Thank you so much, mate. I appreciate that. Rich, I know you have to go. Thank you for your time, your space, and your effort.
Yeah, good night. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Good night for me.
Good night soon.
Good night.
And then FIFA, thank you so much, mate. You don't need to do that. You pump us out everywhere. Go and get them 5K. Yeah, we're about 16 away now. Proud to be here since day one, and we're proud to have you, mate. But I don't know where I was at. I don't know where I was up to now. So yeah, go on.
I was just gonna say I agree with you, Martin. I think at least 2 of them have to start. I mean, Pepper's already intimated that these players are ready to go. You know, they're ready to hit the ground, and I think we need them. And I think they're coming in. And we forget they're coming into the end of the month and February, where we are playing some tough opponents. You know, we're playing the likes of Arsenal. We've got Spurs. We've got Chelsea. Liverpool. You know, there isn't an easy game to bring them into. You know, there isn't going to be an easy, let's give them a couple of weeks just to settle in. No, we need the players now. Get them on the pitch. It's all hands on deck.
I think the big problem with starting all 3 is that both Vitor Hayes and Kusanov, they can't speak to each other at all. I think they don't have any language in common that they talk, so that they speak.
Football is their language.
Yeah, the power of love might make them communicate.
Remember, you just play the game. You just get out of it.
I know people. I know this is how people are feeling right now. What's the point in qualifying today, tomorrow in Feb, the midfielder? I agree with you. I agree. Let's have this discussion more at the end of the window, on the 4th of Feb, when we know for sure. I think we're jumping the gun.
Point of qualifying is we can win if we qualify. We can't win if we don't qualify.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like I said, you don't have to be the best team to win this. We're not talking the league now where you've got to win 10, 12 games on the bounce. You can literally fluke your way into a final. Because remember, Vibe, and I know Connor's the same as well, and it's Cosmic Buddha, and it gets their opinion, that's fine. We don't always have to agree, but we have to respect each other's opinion. The one thing I will say is, we were not good in the treble season up until Feb. We were garbage up until Feb. And we literally landed into... Not one person said we were winning the treble in Feb. Nobody.
I'm pretty sure you did, Martin.
I did.
I'm not doing that anymore. It's causing too much controversy when I say anything anymore. I'm changing.
We're winning the treble.
and
everyone win the treble.
I would be happy only with Champions League.
And we won the treble.
Okay for me.
So I know people right now are upset and they're angry. I get it. I understand it. I am with you. Because I keep saying this, because I'm not throwing my stuff shit around, doesn't mean I'm not angry. You think I enjoyed last night watching that? Honestly, Ozzy, in that group chat we was having, was I happy during the frigging game? Was I sat there going, yeah, happy clappy? I'm watching City play. I was going, what the fuck's going on? I said Edison kicking atrocious. Nunes, what I put Nunes WTF.
Yeah, I can't repeat what you said in the chat, mate.
I'm not sat there clapping like everyone thinks I am. I'm genuinely not doing it.
Yeah, and in terms of being angry, like there's nothing wrong in being angry, and I was frustrated that the players were not feeling angry. Like I didn't see any player angry after losing that match. Like I wanted to see hunger and like the players getting angry. Like people can say they are flustered if they're losing, they are rattled if they're losing. I don't care. Be rattled, but show some more courage, show some more anger that you want to win the match, because against so many teams right now, we are collapsing so much. We are not showing too much courage. We are not showing anger within the team itself. I think we need some anger within the team as well. So that would also
get it, mate. It's what you want, but we don't have to agree, mate. You have to accept we're allowed our opinions as well. I don't agree. You can forget about it, as we didn't agree on Pep earlier. Fine. We are allowed to. I don't see why do people get so angry over not agreeing with opinions. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. Like, just chill a bit on the. We don't have to hate each other because we don't agree.
I mean, look how angry Sports is right now. He's desperate to show his anger. And
hey, Ray.
Come on.
Tom might be back very soon. Keep an eye on that one. They both speak. You know, we just got to relax. Do you know why we didn't go in for João Neves? Now, listen.
He was good, isn't it?
Ozzy knows how much I was pushing for this boy in the summertime.
Whoa, I was pushing for
him. You was. No, I think we both were. I think there was actually Alan and Rich were the two that didn't want him. I was pushing Bruno as well. But I'd have had João Neves. I don't know why we never did it.
I was waxing lyrics on that.
I don't know why we never did João Neves. It still baffles me. I know Andrew, who might be in the chat, was a big João Neves fan as well.
Pep didn't want any players, apparently.
Wow.
No, you know the trouble is, this is another thing. A lot of people in the summer were going, too small, not good enough. Can't pass the ball good enough. Everyone gets all excited and like quick on these players. By the way, Mamouche will be. I can't wait to see him. I'm excited to see him.
Yeah. I'm excited as well.
Definitely.
Listen, I'm not saying we're going to win the treble. I'm just saying let's just see where we land in May. I know everyone right now is doom and gloom. I know. I'm not saying we're going to win the treble. Don't start that shit rumor off. I never said
stop saying it then.
I was the one who said we're not going to win the league. Tone said we're going to win the league. Happy with that.
Go Sports.
I was going to say, just on the Champions League thing, look, regardless of whether somebody thinks we're going to win them or not, or whether somebody wants us to win the Champions League or not, if we don't get to the next stage, we lose our revenue. And the club will look at that. And it won't matter. And it's not good for the image of the club anyway. So they'll hopefully want to get through to the next stage anyway. And Plus, when you're trying to target, if we're trying to target players towards the back end of this window, and then we're not trying to get, try and attempt to get through to the next stage of the Champions League, then we can forget about that. So, we definitely need to try and move on. But also, we have to factor in that the other teams that may be considered favourites for the Champions League right now, like your Liverpools, like your Barca's, they're all going for something. They're all challenging for a title or something. By let's say May, June time, they'll be exhausted. And we've got every chance of being able to win it, provided we get through. But again, I'm not going to say we're favourites, and I'm not trying to tell anyone that we're going to definitely win it. But like we're trying to say, you've got more of a chance if you get through to the next round of winning it.
And also we as a nation, England needs the fifth place for Champions League this season. So we can't think that we get knocked out before the playoffs and it won't affect negatively for England. Like, it will affect negatively, and we want to do best as we can so that fifth place is also available for Champions League, because as season is going, we can easily finish fifth as well. Like, I hope and I think that we will finish in top four, but there might be a scenario that we finish in fifth but still qualify for Champions League. So for that to happen, we have to qualify for playoffs as well. So that would help us as well.
Definitely.
Just a quick one. One thing I don't think, and I'm not, by the way, this is not an excuse, it's just an opinion. I look at this Champions League. No one's talked about this new format. I think this new format has thrown a lot of teams. Absolutely thrown a lot of teams.
Yeah.
When you look at the actual top 8, Liverpool, Barcelona, Arsenal, Inter Milan, Atletico Madrid, AC Milan, Atalanta, Bayer Leverkusen. All right, but where's Real Madrid?
Bayern.
Where's City? Well, now we're going down.
Munich.
Bayern Munich. Aston Villa, Monaco, Feyenoord, Lille, Brest. We always love a bit of Brest. Bigger the better. Dortmund, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Juventus, Celtic, PSV, Club Brugge, Benfica, PSG, Sporting, and Stuttgart. Then in the knockout, in the ones that are not going to qualify at all, there's us. Obviously, we've got that game with Club Brugge, Zagreb, Donetsk, Bologna, etc.
Leipzig is there. Yeah.
It is a very weird thing, this new format. It's an absolute weird situation.
Yeah, I hate this new format.
You can't plan it in a win 4 games, you're through, then you can rest your last 2. You're going right till the end of the season with this, right till the end of the knockouts. We're into January, we're still playing. I'm not saying it's an excuse, but this is a brand new format that managers and players don't know how to journey their way through it. They can't journey their way through this. Arsenal are not the 3rd best team in Europe. Kiss me ass, Arsenal are the 3rd best team in Europe. But according to that table, they are.
No worries, they'll lose against, like, in the round of 16. No worries for Arsenal.
I feel like this new format is just very much based on luck now, because the teams don't play each other, right? They play 8 specific teams out of 20, out of 30 something. So you can have like 12 teams finishing with 8 wins because they don't play each other. So I think this is horrible. I hate this new format. I don't even know.
I said it at the beginning, I hate the format.
No, like,
I tell you, really hates it is Real Madrid, because at Christmas they were in the bottom half and they were threatening to pull out the whole thing and never play in the competition again and try and set up their own, Super League again, because that's how much they were throwing their toys out the pram. Do you know what I mean? We haven't got to that level quite yet, which is great.
But I don't mind this format at all. Like, it is much more exciting than the group stage. How was it before? Because before, if you have an easy group, essentially, if I don't watch any of the 6 matches, I know we will qualify definitely and we would be top of the group. I don't want it so simple as well. Like, I want exciting games, and not just about City matches, but there are so many exciting games in this format. So I don't mind it. Obviously, it's much more difficult. It's much more hectic for the players, but as a tournament, it's much more exciting.
Is it really though? Because at the end of the day, we actually might go through with the terrible run we've been with 1-2 games. We might still go through.
But imagine in the playoffs, I'll give you 3 fixtures which can happen in the playoffs, not even round of 16. City versus Real Madrid can happen. PSG versus Bayern Munich can happen. Let's say PSG versus Real Madrid can happen. All these fixtures can actually happen in the playoffs, not even in the round of 16. Like that makes us even more exciting, and the the margins are so thin for this kind of format that such big teams can lose before even reaching the round of 16. And in the previous format, this would never happen. Like very rare, let's say 1% of a chance it might
Uh,
happen, but never happen.
I don't
But
know. There's
now,
always a team that drops down, right? Barca did it quite
but
a lot
but only one,
this few
but only one.
years.
In this case, like as Martin was reading the table, Atalanta is in top eight. A lot of teams are in top eight, but Bayern Munich, PSG, Man City,
Madrid.
uh, Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, a lot of these teams are in the playoff zone. And who would have imagined these teams would be there? I thought one or two of these four would be below top eight, but I never imagined all of them to be below the top eight. So I
We
think it's
will
much
agree
more
to
exciting.
disagree, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
A couple of people have jumped in. Thank you, Scotty Steve. I appreciate that. You didn't need to, mate. Seeing your tweet about the abusive message, mate, you don't talk down to people at all. Block the weirdo. Mate, he already is. He's been dealt with by the authorities. I can't go into it anymore. It's now with them to deal with. But appreciate the support, mate. Let's get him to 5K. Appreciate that, mate. Save your money now. Look after yourself, everyone. I know people are so generous and kind, but and we love it. It is what it is. People said they love it. Listen, it is. For me, I'm not keen on it. Some will love it, some don't. It is like Ed loves it. I think it's probably, and I'm going to be careful I'll say this. For someone in the UK, it's probably a bit different because in America, you're used to the NBA playoffs. You're used to a basketball. You know what I mean? Like when you finish first in America, it doesn't mean you're first. I think that's why there's a bit of a. I think for UK people, it's very hard to program it. It's a programming sort of situation because in our heads, if we see ourselves first, we think trophy at the end and we're first and away we roll. And now we're not. We've got to reprogram ourselves back to, well, it just means you go through. You still,
And I also think
it's very weird. And it's just different cultures, by the way. It's not a bad thing. It's just what you're used to. And as a human being, what you are programmed to be.
I also think that the fact that there is no real advantage for winning the league the previous year or winning the Champions League to get an easier group, let's say like that. That's a very big problem for me as well.
Yeah, but we're going to talk Chelsea a little bit. Yeah, like they said, the seeded. This is just in you go, and we'll see you all at the end. Do you know what this was, Rajiv? Because they wanted to do this was the Super League alternative. Yeah. This was, they want the Super League. Let's stop that. Let's make our own. This was UEFA's version of their Super League. And this is what they wanted.
I think the other big problem for me with it is that they've expanded the amount of clubs who are in it now. And not only have they expanded the clubs who are in it, but then we've got the Club World Cup as well in the summer.
So many matches.
I mean? So it's so many matches that you can see that eventually, I mean, this is us now, but you can guarantee come next season, I think you're going to be seeing other clubs in similar positions to City, where a lot of their players have been running to the ground. I just, other fans can have a go at us right now and, carry on, but give it 6 months. Some of these clubs are going to be going crap.
Ozzy, if you stop to think about it, let's pick Valverde for example. He's probably going to play all games in the La Liga. He's probably going to play most games in the Champions League, Copa del Rey, and the Club World Cup. And then next season comes, he's going to play most games in all of those competitions, as well as a World Cup in between that's going to have more games as well. So when is he going to rest? Like, he's going to have 2 weeks off in 4 years, probably.
Yeah,
it's just too much.
It is. It's too much for the players. I mean, everyone talks about how much they earn and they should just get on with it. It's people are not machines. People need rest. We all need a rest. We all need to go on holiday and have some time off from our work because if we don't, we burn out. Do you know what I mean? And the players already saying this. I've been saying it for a while, but I guarantee come next season, a lot of them are going to be standing up and going a bit more like, we can't do this. And this is
we're
why.
going to see worse games.
Yeah, we are going to see worse games, but this is the other reason that, you know, Pep has said, I can't manage a squad of 15 players. Realistically, now I've got to have more players, because with the games that are coming thick and fast, I can't rely on just the 15 players that normally would work for me. I'm going to have to bring in more players, because other players are just getting burnt out too quickly. We're not Chelsea.
Tell you what, what I was going to say was, I think, listen, the reason why I don't keep going on about what we've done is because it's this is just me as a human. I don't think we can't keep going on about what we've done in the past. That's wrong. We know we've made errors. We know we should have rebuilt the squad in the summer. We know we should have added. That's on the board. That's on Pep. That's on everyone. But we can't keep going back to June and July. It's done now. It's finished with. We have to stop, restart again now. We've got to January, and he's done it. I think Pep just trusted his players one more season, Cosmic Bagger. He just trusted them, and it was the wrong call. We've all said it was the wrong call, but we can't flog them forever. It's one of them. It's like, I said this as an analogy weeks ago. It's like your missus cheating on you, or your husband cheating on you. You either break up with them or you forgive them. But if you forgive them, you can't keep slapping them in the face with you cheated on me. You've got to cut and restart. If you're going to stay with the person who's done wrong, or it's like having a friend who does you bad and you go, right, you did bad, I'll forgive you. You can't then keep having a go at that same friend with the punishment. Otherwise, you're not really forgiving them. You're just throwing it back in the face all the time. We know the club have done wrong. And the reason why I'm talking about the club is because the club is like family, a partner, what the way we see it. But we got to just forgive and move on now.
It's like if your best friend just smashes your car and just destroys it. You either just not talk to him at all ever, or just go like, okay, yeah, you did this, you fucked up, but we move. We keep moving, we keep talking, we keep having this relationship. You can't just keep giving it to him, oh, you smashed my car, so you have to do this.
Yeah.
You just can't do that.
Just let you know, you choose when you book it. You choose, it gives you a drop down and it'll tell you what's available. Depends what game is it. Echo Falls. DM me and I'll give you the link and give you some info if you want Echo Falls. I don't know if you follow me on Twitter or Instagrammers or DMs, and I'll give you some updates, mate. And I'll try and help you as best I can. How did Pep not see this coming? Again, like I said, fair enough. I think we're doing it in spaces now. Me and Spartacus was talking about this the other day. In spaces. We're opening spaces and we're just rinse and repeating for 4 hours what we're saying. And we're just doing that. We're just going in a circle now. It's like, we can't. There's nothing we can do. You cannot go back. There's no time machine. There was a time machine. Ozzy won't be on the chat. I'm joking. But...
Mate, if I had a time machine, I wouldn't be here. I can tell you that.
He'd be like, I'm not here.
I'm driving 88 miles an hour. I'll tell you that now.
He's driving me off a cliff. No, that's not happy clapping. What do you want me to do? That's not happy clapping, Jeremy Doku. Come on, that's not.
I feel like this is just maturity at the end of the day. It's just understanding that you can't change the past, but you got to learn from it and move on.
I feel like I've got to apologize for being 42.
What's done is done.
I'm sorry for being 42, everyone.
Listen, we on this channel, and we've done it tonight, and we've done it on previous shows where we've had a go at the club, at Pep, at players. You know, we've really had a go at a bit of our fan base because some of it's gone a bit too far. We do criticise. Yeah, we do criticise, but we do it in a way which is constructive. Okay, we're not like other channels, like as Martin said previously. We're not like Mark Goldbridge's, where he has a meltdown and throws his chair around. All right, the Nottingham Forest fan, All right. We try and do our best to give our opinions, some constructive criticism when the club deserves it, and sometimes we do have little meltdowns because we do have Alan on the show at times. So there we go. But yeah, I mean, I think we have to be realistic. We're fans. We only have a say. We can say either on here, like channels like this, or we can buy a ticket and we can say our opinions in the stands. All right. That is as far as it goes. All right. You don't like it. You don't like our opinions. Jog on. You don't have to watch us. There are thousands of other channels out there. You can go and watch them have meltdowns. Simple as for me. All right. We probably should move on to the Chelsea game. I think we've covered a little bit of it, but we just have to be honest about it. Simple.
Yeah, in Brazil, we have a saying that basically goes like, if you're just saying that something is bad and in that it can be better, you're doing nothing. You have to say how you can do better, where you can do better. Is it actually possible to do better? These are the things that actually help in a conversation. When you just moan for the sake of moaning, when you just say that there is a problem, you're really not doing much in it. Because spotting a problem, many people can do. You're not being like particularly smart or particularly smart about just pointing out, oh, we fucked up in the summer transfer window. You're not being smart about that. Everybody can see that. Now, learning that we messed up, why we messed up, and moving forward with that information. That's what smart people actually do. And if you just keep going back to, oh, but we made a mistake in the summer, that's not really helping at all.
Yeah. And plus, we have to also factor in, if the club and Pep and everyone involved has got it right 4 seasons in a row, they're entitled to get it wrong one time, aren't they? Come on.
They will get.
Yeah, it happens. It's inevitable. But the way in which some of the fan base is reacting, it's like, crikey, we're like the other team in Manchester, and we're not at that level. We're not at that level of crisis. Like, why are we behaving like that?
Yeah, when we're at their level, then you can have a bit of a meltdown. I'll understand that because even I might. But
Yeah.
I won't be here.
Even I'd have a bloody meltdown at that point.
I felt they lost today. Even
there would be no happy clappers at that time.
I think all 5 of us be in rehab by that point, but I don't think that'll ever happen.
See, like Adam's on tonight. I've just noticed your space has gone down. I'm gonna say, Adam, I didn't like the Space Net title. It's not my thing, that, mate. Just your choice, but just be careful with your space names. It's up to you, mate. But some will find that offensive, mate. We don't buy midfielder in this window. We haven't, like, Arsenal trying every position the one we really need. I agree. Listen, if we don't buy CDM, I think it's poor. Or can be. We need to. If we don't make another signing now, I think we've done everything what we needed to do. I agree. But the one thing I will caveat with that is, and we don't know what the reason is. Do you know when we'll properly figure out our reason? Do you know when we'll know?
Next summer.
We'll know in the summer what the plan was. Because
But I
if
also
they
think
rock up in the summer and get Edison or Belabor or Bruno or whoever, A, B or C, and they spend 130 mil, well, we know why they didn't pluck out for Douglas Luiz then. Because they didn't want to get a stopgap.
Yeah.
And also, people saying, like the previous comment saying that we're doing an Arsenal. I think it's very different because Arsenal don't have a striker. They need a striker because they don't have one in the team. We have a CDM. He's just injured. He is coming back one day. Roddy is coming back. We can't just think that, oh, now because Roddy is injured, we're not going to ever have a CDM again. Next season, we have another one. So we can't just buy a CDM that can only play CDM again. We did this mistake with Phillips already. So we can't make this mistake again.
Get Rodri signed on his new contract ASAP.
I don't like this Akanji Stones as CDM for one simple reason. They're not fit enough to do it. They're not fit enough to bloody do it. They can't play 5 games in a row. So it isn't Johnny and Akanji at CDM because they're not fit enough.
And even if they are, I don't think the other players on the back line will be fit enough.
if we have to do it, the only way I see that happening is if we play our 2 new centre backs and they start most games over Akanji and Stones for a while until those players are fit, and then maybe you can move them into that CDM. But that's the only way I see it happening. I don't see it happening on Saturday for certain.
Not this Saturday, but I think that is a possibility. Some match this season, it might be a possibility, but I don't see against Chelsea never happening.
I think we have to have at least one Portuguese-speaking player in the team for that to happen.
Martin, do you know how?
Well, hopefully Diaz is back from sickness.
Any news on Diaz yet?
Pardon?
Any news on Diaz? How is it?
He was just sick.
So is he not injured?
Apparently he was ill. That's all I know. By the way, I'm just looking at Fabrizio now. It has said they have now confirmed the signing of Renato Vega, who is a fullback.
Ooh, that's interesting.
That's now done. The other thing is, so I know Fabrizio said there will be. I think people just need to relax and just. I know everyone wants it yesterday, but I can't. The club are trying. They are looking.
Deadline
people are saying they are trying. They just. I keep saying this. They're not going to do. They're not going to do it in the media. They're not going to do it in the media.
Yeah, we're not Liverpool in that interested FC.
Yeah, we can't just keep going off and off and off. It's just they're trying. That's all we know.
Yeah. There is a lot of noise around, but this can be a sort of deal. I do see this one being the one that happens.
I will say, I am probably going to calm down on the spaces. I think people in the spaces are losing it a little bit. I think we all just need a little bit of time to relax, reflect, and it's not doing anyone any good at the minute. So I think we're starting to chill.
Spikers, that's you too.
No, people. I'm just not going to host any. That's all. What's to Bob? Bob's getting back fit. See, that's another thing. If Stones and Akanji were able to do it, but then again, Stones hasn't been fit to do it.
And also, if either Stones or Akanji is able to do it, it means that 3 other centre backs has to be fit for them to play as centre backs. So,
yeah,
at the moment, it's not really looking
like
too
a
good.
domino, innit? One domino needs to fit that domino into that domino. Vegas said, apparently he's a fullback, is what they're saying. LB98, they're saying he's a fullback. I don't know. I've never fully heard of him.
Gabby Vega, is it the one from Chelsea?
Yeah.
He played even winger at Chelsea. I don't know. He played all over the pitch.
I don't know what goes on with players anymore. They play all over the.
They do it.
They play all over.
It wasn't the Conference League, so I guess they could really play anywhere there. Just.
Anyway, has anyone got any final thoughts on? Do you want to quickly move on to Chelsea before we end?
Let's go on to Chelsea then.
Yeah, move on.
I'm confident with Chelsea. I think the new players will give us a bounce.
Yeah, I'm worried about the new players. That language thing is with Kusanov in days. If there is no Ruben Diaz to translate it to each other, I don't know.
Talk with their feet, mate. That's what they need to do.
Yeah, I don't think both start. I can't see both of them starting.
They'll have to communicate with the power of love.
I think Mamouche will definitely start, and one of the 2 centre backs, like one of those 2, would start. And I think we are thinking too much about the language thing, because I think in the past a lot of non-English speaking players have come in the team and played in the team when they understand no
Savio
English.
doesn't speak a word of English.
Yeah. So
doesn't speak a word of English.
But he speaks Spanish, innit?
He does. I haven't chatted with him, mine, but I
tried ringing him up on the phone. He's like, "Nope, don't get it. Bye." Don't get ya. Call me back. Bye.
No English. No English.
He doesn't speak any English.
9. That's German. That's German. Can't do that. That's German. He's not Brazilian. Portuguese. Bloody hell, German, Portuguese, anyone. Listen,
No
they
point.
will understand the international language of football.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's what
Yeah.
they'll understand.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't think Ushinov's going to sat there with his Uzbeki translator going, he says this and the other. Can't be doing that as going along.
Google Translate.
Ball
Google.
away from goal. But go where? Ball away. Away. That's all you do.
No, get Lino out. Get Lino when he's go out. Get Martin in there. Come on.
Or you get his right leg and say, twat it that way. Go. What are you doing Sunday League? Twat the bastard that way. Go. I don't know what you do. And the move, football, goal. Score that way, you go that way. You just point to them. I don't know what you do.
No, but
Mark, you do realise Mamouche can speak English.
I don't know. I've not watched his bio. What are we doing here?
Oh, Martin, what have you been doing?
He speaks
Do you
quite
know what
well.
he's having
He
for
does speak quite
breakfast,
well.
dinner, lunch, tea, whatever you want to call it? He
He
loves an
speaks
apple
very
crumble
well.
and custard. There's all that. He loves a crumpet with jam on. I'm very worried about the midfield. I mean, Vega can play CDM centre back and left back, but he wants to play centre back more. I don't know a lot about it. I'm not gonna lie. Linguistics major, yeah. Twat it. That's what it comes in as. What does twat? Yeah, clear the ball. Twat it. Done. Omar will come on 70 minutes. I think Omar Mamouche starts and KDB or Foden arrested for the whole
But
game.
KDB.
Has Moose trained enough though? Because he had his medical Tuesday night.
He trained today.
Today.
Yeah, he trained
Yeah.
today.
I think he
Listen.
trained once already.
Ali Benarbia forgot his boots and still played against Rotherham and came on. Got mad at that. Do it. Hey, smash his effing face in.
Oh, we
Was
don't
that Diego's actually got a knock. Yeah, I mean, I do know Chelsea aren't going to have Lavia or Enzo on Saturday. Enzo Fernandez looks like Lavia's out. So their midfield's going to be, I think Cole Palmer's obviously the guy we need to watch.
Yeah, those back Maldini is gonna twat him off the
Do
field.
you know what we
in
might
5
have
seconds.
to do? We might have to just play fire with fire and make it a basketball game. I know that might not be everyone's cup of tea here, but the goal until maybe the next 2 weeks might be let's play basketball. You score 3, we score 5, and try and outscore them.
And we just have to bypass the midfield.
Yeah. If Foden doesn't start, do you start McAtee?
No.
Yes.
No, because I've got Mamouche in there.
Yeah.
I think Mamouche is
have
coming
experience
central
on it.
for KDB.
The plan for
Yes.
Mamouche is to play 10. That's the plan.
Yeah.
He said himself today in his interview that he likes to play 10. Yeah, he mentioned playing
Yeah,
10
that's
in the
the
interview.
plan. I think people really getting on this Musiala Bert stuff. I haven't seen Mamouche.
I think Mamouche is the
I
one.
think they're looking at.
Yeah, they are done now. I don't think we'll be signing one of those two now after we have signed Mamouche.
I tell you the other thing I like about Omar as well is that he said it himself. He's a free kick specialist, and he is. Like the amount of free kicks he scores are it's incredible.
And he needs to take the corners. Yeah.
Yeah, his corners are blue.
Yeah.
Nah, that's KDB special. That's a KDB special.
KDB's been a bit off corner late. By this game, we have to work who's taking him.
Right, this is where we're at. This came out from City Extra 3 hours ago. Man City's interested in Juventus. Andre Cambiasso is absolutely genuine. New contacts will follow to understand if it is possible to discuss a deal for the final days of January or negotiate for the summer. So they are going to try for January, but they will do it for the summer if they can. But they are going to try. So I said we are trying.
No, I agree. Like if they don't budge for January, but they are okay to sell in the summer, we should make the deal happen anyways. So
I think Rich was right on was wrong on one thing. Is there's a price for every player. If you're willing to stump up the money, they'll sell. It's just do City, unless you see City is a usual thing with City, they won't normally pay above the odds. But I think right now, with the position we're in, and the risky thing of us not get that Champions League, I think you just have to go pay the extra 20 million. If that's what we have to do, get the deal over the line.
I don't think that's quite true, because if you stop to think about it, some players are just too important for a team to leave in January. If like let's take Newcastle for example. They're actually with a shot of making top 4 and winning a trophy. How much will they sell Bruno Guimarães for in the summer? Nothing, because he's pivotal for that. If they sell Bruno Guimarães, they don't make top 4 and they don't win the trophy.
The thing, Spartacus, is when you are dealing with, if you try to deal with Newcastle, you're dealing with a Premier League club, okay, for starters. They are always going to, in January, ask above the odds, especially as they're rivaling you right now in the league. Okay?
And one of their best players. Yeah.
And one of their best players. When you're talking about Juventus or any other European club, and we saw it with Mamouche, okay, you offer the money, they need it. Europe haven't got the money the Premier League have got, okay? Juventus are strapped for cash right now. Yeah. They're a club that are not where they were before COVID, okay? They need the money.
Absolutely.
Right? They wouldn't be trying to get rid of certain players right now because they could keep them. Financially, if you offer the money that they want, the deal will happen.
Yeah.
Newcastle are not short for money the same way as a couple of other Premier League clubs. Like if you try to go to Brighton now and try and get Baleba, Brighton will probably look at that and think, "Oh, we're not short of money." That's one thing, and two, because he's only 23, they'll think, "Well, actually, we'll get the same amount of money for him in the summer. So why do we need to sell him now?" Whereas Juve, in a completely different situation where they are trying to recruit more players anywhere, and they've not got a rich owner, so they will happily. If we're prepared to, and again, this is about jump on the Aussie point about if we have to pay the extra bit, if let's say now we consider him a 70 million euro player, they want 80 for the sake of 10 million euro for now, because the needs that we've got, needs a must, just pay the extra money. Because if you go back to when Liverpool signed Van Dijk, at the time, could we honestly say that he was worth 75 at that time at Southampton? At the time, that time.
No,
yes.
it wasn't.
Teams were bidding around 60, 65. Liverpool went in because City were interested as well. They wanted to pay like 60, 65. Liverpool and jumped in, paid the extra 10 because they had that need. And we've got to be prepared. If we've got a need, just pay the extra 10 because it could turn out to be that Van Dijk signing for us.
I'm just surprised that Baleba is 23. I thought he was like 19, 20.
No,
he's 23. God damn.
Yeah. So he's a player that you pay for now. You may have paid over the odds, but long term, he's a quality player that's going to do you well for the next, 7, 8 seasons.
The fact that he's 23 actually, I don't know, it just made me worry a little bit because he plays like a 18, 19-year-old when he's 23. It's the same with Makati.
Yeah, this is why City are not jumping in right now, because there's still, you give them the second half. I mean, if they're interested, of course, but they wouldn't jump into him after 18 months of Premier League football. They'd rather just see how he develops in another 6 months, because we've seen it with Wharton. Wharton had a good 6 months when he came in January last season, but then since then he's not really picked up, has he? So I understand sometimes being patient in certain situations with players and just watching them for a couple of seasons. But the Cambiasso one, I'm a bit more convinced.
He's a player that Juventus brought in. When they got him, they were screaming about this kid because he's a top player. He's their Phil Foden in some respects because they feel he's a generational player. But that's how highly they rate him. So you can understand why they're going to stick a higher price tag on a player they really don't want to let go. But you give the money, they'll snap your hand off.
So you think it's probably going to be around 80 million pounds or euros?
Possibly. I can't comment on to what the price will definitely be. You know what I mean? But again, if it's that high, that's what we have to do. We're in that position where we've got a little choice. If we don't sort out, a centre midfield this January, then I would rather bring him in, where he's a versatile player who can play right back and can play inverted if that's what we need, and that's what we're clearly targeting for. City
want to pay around 50 for him. Juve want around 67.5 for him. I reckon the deal gets done for around 60ish, but that'll include add-ons. I reckon there'll be some add-ons in there. So like you're looking at maybe you look at like a base fee similar to what we're paying for Mamouche, around that 59 million or whatever, 60 million, then another 3-4 million add-ons.
If we get him for 60 mil, it's gonna be a bargain.
Long term, definitely.
Long term bargain, yeah.
Yeah, because again,
we paid 50 odd for Walker, and look what Walker
produced.
Yeah, and plus, let's be completely honest. How many people knew about Rodri before he came? Honestly speaking, how many players expect? I mean, how many fans thought he'd turn out to be the player he's become? Like, who would have thought he'd be a Ballon d'Or level player? So we got to sometimes just trust the club when they go for someone that maybe we're not well versed in or well researched on, but the club's done their homework and they wouldn't just pay that sort of money unless they well and truly trust the ability.
Sports. I watch Atletico Madrid regularly, even when Rodrigo was there.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you that he was going to be this level of player. Yeah. Not even a great player. I would say like, okay, he's going to be a good player, but
yeah.
What did we call him his first season, Martin? Whose first season?
Plodra.
No, that was Alan who called him Plodra.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean. Like even some of the City fans were on his back, you know, saying he's no Fernandinho. He's been a waste of money. Now look at him.
Well,
just quickly going on to Chelsea again. Sorry, but
hey, Thomas, talk about Chelsea.
No, but
kick him off, Mike. Kick him off.
I think you're low key a Chelsea fan, isn't he?
No, I meant let's discuss about Chelsea a little bit. I was thinking about the front three. Like, I am very confused in terms of what front three should play as well. Like, what would be your choice of front three? Like, who would
Xavi
be our
Haaland
wingers?
and Foden. Xavi Haaland, Foden.
Yeah, I don't think Doku's fit, so he's out of the question. So I think you have to go with what we've got.
No one has chosen Grealish after second half performance.
I would go Grealish purely just to rest players. I would go Grealish one side, Xavi on the other.
If we want to make it a basketball game, we cannot have Grealish in it.
Yeah, I don't think we should make it a basketball game. So I would also prefer Grealish. Like, it won't be like very calm game as well. It will be a bit of to and fro, but I don't think it will be like a basketball game. And if it is a basketball game, I am assuming Chelsea would score more. So I don't want us to play basketball game. I would rather play a little bit more calm. So I think Grealish and Savio would suit because one would be more attacking, one would be more calm on the left. So I think Grealish and Savio could be right. And obviously Mamouche in the 10. So,
do you think we see Bob get any minutes in this one?
Well, I'd love to.
Is he fit?
He's fit. He's just match fit, isn't it?
No,
really?
No, you'll see Bob probably FA Cup. Right. Anyway, I need to end in a minute. I do apologise because I've got people ringing me. I need to go and speak. I've got people I need to speak to ringing me. So I do apologise. The one thing I will say, I want to say thank you to everyone who's joined us tonight. You were all amazing. Appreciate that. Thank you for all the super chats from Ed, Benny, from Alan, True Dogs, Scotty Cityman and FIFA. Been amazing. The gifts, memberships from DB, Adam, Matt, Fogg, Adam Quinn, and etc. who have been absolutely outstanding. It's so kind from you all. Really appreciate that. Listen, I'm going to say this quite bluntly, and this is the end of it now. I have reported what happened at the beginning to the authorities. It's now with them. I have a crime number. It's going to be dealt with. If you think we're going to chuck away 4 years, 3.5 years of damn hard work because some lowlife wants to have a go at us, forget it. Yeah, spaces we need to. What it says, we're all City fans. This civil war's got to stop. It's getting silly. Got to stop. It's becoming us versus them. Let's stop it. We've got to stop this. It really is getting out of hand. The amount of people who sent me screenshots tonight of their DMs about other YouTubers This is not just me. This is going around right now. Got to stop. We're all City fans.
Should never be blue on blue.
I don't know what's going on. We've turned into the Arsenal fan base.
I would say shouldn't happen anyways. Shouldn't happen anyways.
Listen, I don't understand it. I'm not an happy clapper. I'm a Manchester City fan. Somebody's not a hater. They're just more critical than others. That's all it is. I don't know what we're doing here. You know. By the way, I'm so racist. I've got a guy from Brazilian and Damesh. Are you from India, is it?
Originally, no, originally from India, currently in Ireland.
There you go. Yeah, I'm not racist. You know what I mean, everyone? Whoa. Give your head a wobble. Look what's in front of you. I don't know what we're doing. Just calm down a touch. Pat, one of the actual owners of the channel. He's Australian.
Who does everyone feel today?
Come on. I don't know what we're doing here. You know, it's this legacy fans versus foreign fans, new fans versus old fans. Chill out. Don't know what we're doing. It's crazy. It's honestly crazy.
We can all admit that
because we love
Martin's
to do
a
it.
dinosaur. We know it. We know he's the biggest dinosaur going next to Rich. You want to call him a dinosaur? Go ahead. I do it all the time.
No, exactly. No, listen. I've had someone today, you know, someone who's a long time sub of the channel, I won't name them, and said, you know, we're happy clapper. So what? If you don't like us, just don't watch.
Jog on.
Simple as. You don't like us anymore, and you want the drama, and you want all the throwing stuff around, and everyone's rubbish, then fine.
There will be a channel for you out there.
Wouldn't it be boring if every City show was the same? Some are live, some are recorded, some do panels, some don't. So what? Enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think
otherwise you're going to find us lot just pack up and go home.
But that's the last of it now because it's been dealt with by the authorities, and that's the more I'm going to go into it. Martin, all the cretins don't feel them. Thank you very much. I'm not. I'm just. It's been dealt with, my son. Totally. But anyway, big up. We'll be back on Sunday night. There's going to be nothing now. Friday, Saturday. I'm having a couple of days off because I'm not dealing with it anymore. Even after the Chelsea game, I don't care who win, lose, or draw. We'll be back Sunday. I'm having a couple of days off. I'm taking the missus out tomorrow night, wine and dine, you know. I'm just going having a nice, relaxed me time.
Good thing.
Good on you, mate.
There will be no spaces till next week if they even come back because things have got seriously calmed down. I'm not giving up hours in the middle of the night for abuse. People need to grow up. But anyway, have a lovely time.
That's the end
You're
of
all
it.
amazing.
Promises.
No, I am. No, I am. But anyway, we are 16 away from 5K. Please, like I said, give away shirts. The lot will come. We'll do a massive stream. Next week, Martin Talks will be back. Bite your dick off. Let me know. He's got all the clear from. Thanks. Well done, mate. Big up. Absolutely amazing, that, mate. Well done. So pleased for you. You did actually win the membership, mate. So if you ever want to come on, can be off camera. Just chat City. If you're up to it, if you're feeling good, more than welcome, mate. But get in touch with me. Bite your dick off. We'll have a chat. But yeah, take care. We're all blue. City till we die. And as always, up the Blues. We'll see you Sunday.
Bye.